I like that sound.
Yeah. There it is, a little snappy. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna do the twirling segment, right?
The twirling
Let's do
sound.
that.
I'm done. Look, this is it.
There's nothing worse than the scene of drummer, especially like some heavy kind of music, and they're like have that waiting for the bus look like. I've seen it, gigs. Like, what do you want to be there or not, man? So like, pretend like you're into it. Come on, man. Mr. Mike Mangini, everyone, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Ray Luzier, everyone.
We're at Sweetwater.
Here we are.
Sweet.
Fort Wayne.
Such a small little tiny store. It's like you can't even really. I mean, it's like 8 steps long, and you're over it. This is ginormous. How big is this freaking? You look in the guitar freaking pedal room, and you can't even see the other end of it. It's the restaurant.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
You know what? With regard to the drums being here, this is an interesting thing. How about going on tour, and you're playing in Scandinavia in the winter, and you're playing ice hockey arenas. So there is no warming up, okay, right? So you know we do all this practicing, and you know you can I turn the snare on now? I like that sound. You know?
There it is, a little snappy.
Okay. Yeah. So. The interesting thing is the work that we do with all these techniques, right?
Yeah.
And, well, the fulcrum should go here, and no, it shouldn't. It should go there, and no, it shouldn't. It's here, and no, you do, and all this stuff. It's information. So the funny thing about warming up for me is just getting the thumbs warm up, because that's what makes me grab the stick tightly and cause tension here. And then in here, which gives us tendonitis, and that gives the carpal, right? So what's interesting is doing all the warm-up, which I like to squeeze like that. I just like to work with the pressure, not necessarily a rudiment, because then I can feel the fatigue. But here's what it all means. So you're playing in the winter or whatever, you go on stage, and I'm like, you know, you're grabbing the stick, and I'm not going to get hurt. So I would completely let go of the stick. That's why I started wearing gloves. Because the skin was ripping off my hand. I would literally play, and like in the last time I went there with Dream Theater, we played this song called The Alien first, which is got a lot of notes and stuff.
Yeah, it's not a love ballad.
It's a ballad. But I had to play that a lot of nights like this.
Wow.
Because I refused to like look like I had a proper grip and then get hurt.
Right.
How do you warm up?
Yeah, screw that.
What's your thing?
I eat a Big Mac and then a donut, and then I just shove a donut. No. Same thing. I mean, I go back to like the old marching corps. We had a guy from straight out of the like German army when I was a kid. Oh, dude, he was a corps like master, crazy, like twirls and blah, blah, blah. You're like doing all this, you know. But you'll get here an hour before the band, you'll leave an hour after. And most of the kids hated him, and we all couldn't. We were using DC-10s, you know, all that. But I'd get home on my kit, pick up my 5Bs, and I'm flying. I'm like, this is awesome. I hated the guy, but now, you know. But it was like super, super simple stuff, and I still do them to this day.
Which is, let me see.
Like just super, super simple, like triplet stuff. So if you're accenting the one, what do you say, tata, or do you say enda?
I don't know.
Tatas? What do you say, endas or one tatas?
Chuck-a bucket of fish. Bucket of fish.
Look at me
That's how
now.
you make money at a gig.
Look at me now.
Bucket of fish.
What's the biggest money-making beat?
I don't know.
I do. Pat Boone, Debbie Boone. Flat doom, bagadoom. That's it.
All right.
You're making money. Whatever you do, you put the accent on the first one, the second one, and then the third one. So it's super, super simple. Pulse something. If you're on a kit, like do triplets with your left foot, do quarter notes.
Those are pretty snazzy shoes.
You like those shoes? They're corn Adidas shoes. You like that?
I know. Just the regulars.
Yeah, I got
from my buddies that work there. Thank you very much.
I had to buy these. I don't know if they didn't give me free, but no.
Anyway,
triplets. So you basically start like obviously I'm watching my hands, but I'll do like that. And then obviously you can do more multiple bars of that.
So you were playing one and moving your foot, right? I'm just kidding.
Hey ho, yeah. And then you get nutty with it, flam. All that stuff, right? And then you can start putting doubles on the tap rolls. Whatever, you can make 25 exercises out of the same thing. But I started like 75 on a click and just build it up.
Oh no, I just do this.
I can't do
I'm
that.
done going on the stage.
I can't do
Kidding.
that. Yeah.
But I gotta get. I have to fatigue these. The triples are good. It's stick there. That's really going to sound great.
In the jacket,
That's just unbelievable. What a smart thing. I'm just such a... Oh, yeah.
So it's interesting because
Fatiguing my thumbs.
you're down here. I play when I'm doing. See where I'm at.
Yep.
I love that technique. So cool.
I try to, don't have to do it all the time, but I try to stay consistent so that when stuff doesn't work out well, I'm able to at least make some corrections a little quicker. But I'm like I said before, I've let go of the stick. I put it down here. It's over here. I've played more gigs with the sticks here because I used to get so nervous that I would have different physical fluids, things would happen to me, and I'd get sick.
Wow.
And so my hands would go into fetal position, like kind of like this. Oh, I played more shows, and I couldn't, I was so nervous. So
recently,
nervous.
like DT days, or like what are you talking?
No, this is
like back in the day,
through high school.
Oh, I was gonna say, man, that's
into
crazy.
my 20s.
Right.
It was like miserable. Then it happened a few times professionally. I just got wigged out. You know? It's like I don't know the song well enough, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna make a mistake. But it would shake, and
I got that way today in the studio. I was like, because try some new song. What am I doing?
There you go. But I played a lot like this, but. It works.
Wow.
Just learn how to do it.
That's so.
Well, I'm squeezing here.
What?
I know. Hey, you got to survive, right?
Now we're gonna do the twirling segment, right?
The twirling. The only thing I can do is like, when you're doing nobody's like Tommy's, just Aldridge is like you don't even want to try.
Right.
Just let him win
That's
that.
his thing. Let him do it.
Horacio wins the clave.
Right.
Tommy wins the thing.
Right.
But all I can do is like.
Wow.
or this one.
There you go.
I'm done.
That's it.
I'm done. That's all.
Got to do the double. Like,
you can do everything.
Got to do the thing so it looks like the sticks are going in the same direction. And
watch this. This is incredible.
Yeah, ready? Oh yeah, because you really want that in slow motion. Ready?
All the magic.
And they got to do every finger.
Oh man.
I can't do it with the jacket. You're right. The jacket screws you up. And then the baton one, you got to do that one. That's the best one right there.
Look at that.
Looks like you know what you're doing. You really don't. And then you do this.
I could just
do the
watch
flips,
you do. My segment.
Hey,
I'm just gonna watch him.
I'm cooking dinner over here. Hey, whoa, what's going? Hey,
that's
hi.
about it for me.
That's all you need to do.
I smile though.
I won the best facial expressions 2 years in a row.
You did?
No, just made that category up. Best drummer faces.
The drummer faces, in my opinion, affect the groove. Like if you have the smirk.
Yeah.
You could play contemporary like.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. There's nothing worse than seeing a drummer, especially like some heavy kind of music, and they're like have that waiting for the bus look like.
Yeah.
I've seen it gigs. Like, what do you want to be there or not, man? Pretend like you're into it. Come on, man.
But
you're entertainers.
But the only other face that doesn't entertain is the intense. But I don't know if people can tell that you're intense. Like everything's got to be perfectly.
Oh, right.
It's like it's a mentality. You're totally giving 120% of yourself.
Yeah.
Doing that, but
I can't. Yeah, man.
That might not work.
Wow. I live in Nashville, and some of the Broadway drummers down there, man, they're awesome. Like they can play everyone plays their balls off, but some of them are like. One was actually texting somebody. He was like doing the one hand. He's like, I'm like, wow, dude. All right. There's a guy named Chris Nix in Nashville. He's a really good guitar player. He's really weird. He's lefty, and he plays like 7-string, and it's just wacky what the guy does. His brain's not right because he just plays these chordal things, and you're like, how did you come up with that? So I got him for the Jonathan Davis solo tour. John did a record called The Black Labyrinth that I played on years ago, probably 08 or 09. It finally came out, and he wanted to go tour to support it. So he goes, you put the band together. I'm like, great. That's a lot of pressure because Jonathan's very particular about what he wants. Chris, I knew would nail it because he can do pretty much anything. Single string to wacky chords to tapping to. So I go over Chris's one day. I'm like, hey, I need some clinic stuff. I need some new interesting stuff that's not corn, not typical heavy stuff that I'm always playing. And so leave it to him to come up with some really cool stuff. So I did one of those tracks today.
Nice.
I don't know what it's called. It's called Not in 4. I don't know.
And my whole solo record's in 4.
Is it?
Which is just what's wrong.
Really?
Yeah, the whole thing's 4/4.
Wow, what happened? You feeling all right?
I just needed to just loosen and play the groove.
Yes.
I did a master class last week, and there were clear ambassadors on it, which I don't use for main gigs because just go.
They go
they have
through,
to change it, but they sound so good.
They do sound good, yeah.
So in that setting, it was perfect, and the way the drum reacted to the clear Emperor, which is twice as thick, was perfect. So I really enjoyed it, and it was easy for us to just hit it, and the sounds would dial. We didn't waste any time at all. That's fun.
What'd you use at the Nashville Pearl thing, that show? Because I went to that. What kit
Oh
was
my
that?
gosh, that was the high end.
Was it Ref 1 or was it the Maple Gum? Reference 1?
It was Ref
Ref 1. They
And
sounded awesome.
I know. Believe me, I didn't
Just-
want to get off.
Yeah.
Dennis too was like, oh
Yeah.
man, listen to this.
Send me 8 of these instantly. I love the Ref ones. I mean, I used them at Nick Rasiclenix's studio. I did some playthroughs, some corn tracks, and that's the first time I got introduced to them. And man, I had clear amps on there and a CS on the snare,
That's exactly what I.
PS3 on the kick, and man, they freaking play themselves. It's really awesome. I used a Maple Gum on the last Korn tour,
Oh,
and that was interesting because I've been using acrylics and different things.
Uh-huh.
I always use reference, because I love the way the mahogany goes down, it gets bigger.
yeah.
But having all 6-ply shells like that was freaky at first. And this front of house guy goes, dude, please bring those drums back out. Because he loved this, Let's face it, yourself, you could be playing your butt off on stage. If the front of house guy is having a bad day or an off night, this venue sounds like crap, the fans walk away going, oh, that didn't sound that good, So for him to be jazzed on what the drummer's using, he's just like, oh, do that, So.
How many rigs do you ever have? 2 simultaneous rigs going?
My band's really weird because when I got the gig, they're like, okay, we need a kit in Europe right away because they have a locker in Berlin, a kit in Bakersfield, California, our hub HQ, and then an Asian kind of way too. So we had one in Japan, I had one in Tokyo. So yeah, I always have 2 going on. It's because we travel a lot, so you can't just putting your gear back and forth, and it starts costing a lot. So you get a locker in overseas, do a European tour, and then back.
But the engineers can hear the difference.
Yeah.
In the woods, because I know
For sure.
I was using two rigs on a tour, flying over here,
Yeah.
going to wherever.
Yep.
And then whatever. So if I couldn't really have 2 different drum sets.
Oh, right.
Well, they bring in the monitor. Storage, whatever, the old floppy disk. Remember those, right? They bring in the floppy disk and you plug it in, and so it's got to be
I
dialed.
haven't heard that term in a long time, man. Wow.
Floppy disk.
We're only 32. It's really weird. I don't understand
Yeah.
why everyone's at the point in our careers and our lives that we're grateful to still be doing this many years later. I think Mike and I are a lot the same. We pledged an oath at a very young age. We're lifers. We do this for life, whether if I'm playing a bar mitzvah or if I'm playing a stadium, we're both educators too. I used to teach at MI, I used to teach at Berkeley, we have a lot in common in that way. Yeah. And I think at this point in our lives, all the gigs are beautiful. There's an amazing thing about just getting up on stage and playing and picking sticks up going, wow, this is coming through a PA. I'm hopefully touching somebody with this groove, I'm making a move, I'm bringing emotion, so that's always a beautiful thing. But there are horror stories where things break and you have a fly out date, like you said, or you get a rental kit or something and it's catastrophe. But all those fans out there, they really don't care. They're there to have a good time. They could give a crap if your 10-inch splash fell over in the second song, You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, the best part is when it sounds great. And there are those stages that are better than others. And you don't, there's not a strict formula per se, but it's when you're hitting the drums and you can feel it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest pleasure. The biggest horror is when, stuff goes wrong in your ears or whatever. But it's in your own mind though, because I know that I have played music where I really have to live in 3-second increments. It's interesting. I cannot think, if I think about a mistake, well, then I'm going to make another one in the present moment. And if I think about something that's coming, then I'm going to make a mistake in the present moment. And so I'm adding the amount of like little blurbs or whatever the heck. But one time, and this was back when it was a G3 Live for me. And it's, this is, you don't get to fix it in the studio.
No.
This is one take. This is the real, that's it. Boom, bang, done. So I went out on stage and playing with Vi. And I looked up, and we were playing wherever the Detroit Pistons play. So one of the championship banners was hanging, and it was the year that they knocked the Celtics out. And in my mind, I was seeing clips in my head and getting angry at like Bill Laimbeer and the guys that were on the Pistons. And I had to just, get the reel in, cut it out, because it would have been a horrible thing. But I have had the horrible moments, and your mind goes. Or one time, there was a microphone that I broke. It was on the right side of my kit, and for whatever reason, it was attached to the actual cymbal stand. So we hit harder than it looks. We're really hitting. The stand's doing this. So the thing broke. I thought it was a click. With a tune that had a click, and I moved my part by a 16th note, because that's what I thought. And then it was completely wrong.
Wow.
The song sounded weird. I was like, oh no. It's like cell phones are out there like this, which is always fun. And then, the scorecards come in, and the insults and the report and the whole bit. But when something goes out, that's the horror. It's just, oh my gosh, your life stops for a moment.
And that's the beauty about the punk rockness of it too, because it's like that's what it is. That's that moment. And like you said, everybody to this day and age, everybody's like, oh, here we go. And it's 8 minutes later, it's for the world to see. That's like
and it's like, you're not very good. I know. I know. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not.
There was a time when I was with David Lee Roth, and we played with the Boston Pops Orchestra in the Hatch Shell, as you know. And it 500,000 people, no matter who's playing that, there's 500,000 people every year at that thing, on boats to whatever. And Roth got asked to play it. And Keith Lockhart, from the leader of the Boston Pops, the whole entire orchestra is right here, like literally behind me. Dave Roth is right here, the band. And literally like 8 seconds before we go live, and the same thing, there's no fixing nothing. No, he turns around and he goes, "Don't watch me, kid, watch that guy, he's the boss tonight." And I was like, as soon as he said it, I was like, what do you mean? He's behind me. Like, what the hell's that? And also, in 10, 9, 8, so I'm like, just literally panicking, because like, how am I going to see this? And Dave's doing his twirly cues. And that was, but it's on YouTube. If you watch that clip, you'll see me smiling, but I'm pooping my pants inside. I'm like, ah. But there's no, there was no like fixing nothing. It's like that live thing when millions watch it at home. There's like, but it's also like, pretty cool in a way, because there's everything gets fixed these days. I hate how everything is perfect and all these perfect sounding records, and it's like, come on. I mean, we're guilty of it too. I fix stuff, you fix stuff.
It's not reality.
No.
But what I found with that when I started composing, especially, is it was just so convenient where I would play through, and I missed a downbeat somewhere or whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna move it.
Yeah.
I'm not playing that whole stupid thing again. I gotta eat 20 minutes. But I mean, that's not abusing it.
No,
though.
it's very
abusing it is when it's edited without
to the helm,
without our permission or whatever, and it's fixed. And it just, I think, in my opinion, what makes the final sound on a drum kit sound fake isn't the timing. It's that the dynamics are unnatural. That's why a drum machine sounds the way it does. Because if we play on the grid or play in time, but you have dynamics, it has, a certain feeling to it. But it's when those dynamics are...
The velocity's all the same.
Yeah, because
the triggers and the samples are all like, oh, God, perfect.
Yeah, and it takes away the feel, even though it would have a different feel if the dynamics weren't so perfect. It's just an interesting thing.
It is.
I played in a Van Halen tribute band.
Yes.
I called Diver Down. I know you played in one because I saw you. And I think it was with Nuno when I saw you. We were both blown away. But back to Diver Down. So the singer, Charlie, he is Dave.
Right.
In his mind, he's surfing all the time. He's got the... But one thing that he
talks
did,
like this all the time.
and
It's
he's
annoying.
talking like him, he's doing the whole thing, and he's a fantastic person, and unbelievably talented. But he would make me play those songs so fast.
Oh, right.
It's like, come on, pick it up, pick it
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
come on, Mikey.
You sure it wasn't Dave? Because Dave makes me play everything fast.
Isn't it? But
yeah.
it's weird that they're the same. So that happened to you.
Yeah.
For real,
Yeah.
because you had the real guy.
I was in a David Lee Roth cover band, but David Lee Roth was my singer. No,
Right.
I always say that because like we played Van Halen songs like
Mm-hmm.
all the time. 80% of the set list was Van Halen.
I had to play him faster and faster.
Oh man, there's a YouTube thing I saw me playing Hopper Teacher. I
Yeah.
can't even play it that fast. But
Right.
I was like, pick it up, you're dragging. I'm like, what? And I remember Bisonet. I called Bisonet when I got the David Lee Roth gig, and I said, dude, like, I got and he helped me out. He actually put my name in the hat years before I got the gig, which was awesome. And Greg goes, I go, what do I do? He goes, I go, what advice do you have? I heard he's like this maniac guy, he's an amazing frontman, but he's crazy. And all Greg said was, don't drag. Just don't drag anything. And I'm like, copy that. Okay. And then it's like push it. And sure enough.
We naturally, I always found it odd that us drummers naturally rush things. It's hard work to not do it.
Totally.
It's hard work to lay it back and have
100%.
some space.
Yep.
But what's interesting is when I started teaching and was asked questions, I wanted to have a good answer for people, and I realized I can't answer certain things, so I need to go figure out what it is. What is this thing I don't know about? And the rushing, to me, I found it odd that my conclusion was that there's an instinct in us that overcompensates, knowing that when we have to go a far distance or something,
yeah.
and that's why the drum fills are rushing, and you're doing that, trying to
Right.
get back into time.
Trying to get over the real estate.
It's like an instinct, and you can't tell. And especially, I know for me, if I'm not tuned into my balance, then I lose my ability to sense those slight increases or decreases. Very, very interesting stuff.
It is. It is.
But
And
that's-
I thought the older you get, the easier it would be to cope with that. It's not.
No.
I still like watch videos and be like, dang, man, I have too much coffee or what? I'm flying right there. I didn't think I was playing that fast, but I don't know.
When did you come to the conclusion that you're playing songs fast without somebody telling you? Did you figure it out on your own?
I had many failed original bands in Los Angeles, as everybody does. We all wanted to be Kiss and Guns N' Roses, but it always doesn't happen, right? Does it? But my original band, I remember the guitar player. I was so insulted because this is us. We're the Force. We're doing this. And he's like, hey man, you were Russian at the Troubadour, and we played. I'm like, what are you talking about? Russian? What's that even mean? Like I was 21, whatever. And he's like, and we started videoing it to see who was right. And I was like, man, I am playing that kind of fast. Like, it's kind of
odd because you don't have a sense of that
right
in the moment. And I did that. In fact, it's because it was with the Van Halen tribute band. I'm like, something's not quite right here. I don't know how the guitarist Rob was even playing the stuff that fast. But I carried my cassette deck from home to the gigs, and I had the Maxell XL2, and I said, okay, I'm going to record the gig with the same deck and the same tape, so it's not going to be the same as when I had asked for a cassette. And my reply to them was, oh, no, well, your tape deck spins slow. Like, there's no way I was playing that fast.
That's hilarious.
But then, reality hit me when I had my cassette deck and those XL2s. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And I got the tempo, and it was slightly over 10 BPM faster per song. Like
That's
12.
cooking, yeah.
I mean, really weird.
Hey, we're all humans. Our hearts are beating at different times. There's different adrenaline. There's different nervousness.
Yeah.
We didn't sleep the night before. Maybe we had too much caffeine. All this stuff has affected that night's gig. I have a ton of friends. I'm sure you do too. They play to the click the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
Every single song is on the click. My band, Blind has 7 tempos in it. There's no way.
You can't do
You're
that.
constantly pushing and pulling. You're feeling, and it's this thing. But I know people that they don't care if they didn't sleep because everything's on a click, So it's like,
it depends on the composition. In other words, in my opinion, that's who I like to listen to or adhere to. If the composer of the song, it might be me, it might not.
Yeah.
Usually it isn't. If the composer has an idea for how they want it to sound, then that to me determines the click or not. But because my career, like with Extreme or with Vi, and when I first got in Dream Theater, I had the little iPod, with the metronome on it. So what I would do is use that for a reference, so that the guitar delays were in time, or that I had a relative tempo or something, and I wanted to do that, but then it was like off. And with Vi, I used that little iPod, so I would turn it on and turn it off, and even adjust it in a song.
You never played a click with Vi? It was all just you?
No, well, I'll tell you, I use the iPod for a click.
Yeah.
Sometimes not.
Oh.
Sometimes I would turn it on and turn it off in the song. Other songs, we had an ADAT, because he had all these sound effects.
Yeah.
So I had to memorize, that click and play to it. But the point is, how does the composer want it?
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But the realization of how fast I would play a song naturally before I studied this stuff, I mapped it out. Again, it was like 10 or 11 beats a second faster, but here's how it happened. I was in an original band in Boston called Rick Brill and the Movie, and some of the songs were, they used a drum machine for an effect. So it was like, locked on, that's the time, whatever. I will never forget, it was a gig when I pressed it, it just sounded like it was in slow motion, beyond comprehension. I'm like, what is going on? And I stopped the show and actually filmed this, and you can see me like freaking out on stage. There's something wrong with it. And I looked down, and the tempo was 125, which is what it should have been. And I'm like, what's going on? But they're like, go, play. I'm like, So I press the thing, and it does what it does. And it also was triggering a sequencer. So it had to be used. This was in 1980. No, I shouldn't even say this. Never mind.
It's all right.
It was a long time ago.
Everyone knows we're not 22. It's
Okay. I know.
Okay.
It's funny. But that's when I figured it out, and I was like, I can't believe what my perception was experiencing.
Yeah.
Because if you ask...
Yeah, you think in your head you're on. Machine never lies. That's one thing.
I'm like, holy moly, this is weird. So it became a thing.
Yep.
And I eventually, even if I take my solo thing out, right? I already know that I composed a few of the songs on the slow end. Now I played one of them today, and I was like, oh boy, if I do it live, I'm not going to use anything. I crank it up a little bit, or speed it up here, or slow it down there, or whatever's necessary.
Especially when it's your thing, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Only when there's sequence stuff and effects, you got to play spot on, which is fun.
So Jump, at the end of the David Lee Roth set, of course, Jump's the biggest song. They sold 24 million, whatever it was. So the whole set is flying. I'm talking we didn't take a keyboard player out. So the keyboard player was on, back then we were using mini discs. Remember the MDs?
Yep.
Yeah, we had it on MD, and I'd hit the thing. My tech would hit it. And almost every show would turn around and go, pick it up, because the whole show was flying, but that was on.
Yeah.
So we had to do, Brett Tugwell, the guy that played keys on that, we had to do in 2 BPM increments, like record tempo, 2 up, 4 up, 6 up. But we always used the 6 up, because it was just, go.
I know. We have to change it on the fly. That's interesting too.
But it's the emotion. You know what I mean? We're all humans. We're not like robots. Everything. Sometimes those shows that are all on click. I mean, and I'm fans of a lot of those bands, but it's like, where's the swagger? You know what I mean? I love the feel. I love the depth. I love like you said, the dynamics and the.
And it depends. I mean, sometimes the song needs to sound a certain way.
Sure.
And early in the click days with whoever I said it to, I just asked a question, and the question was, well, how is it that you want your music to sound to people? But I mean, do you want to experience what I have, which is, or what you might have, which is you look at a video, VHS of your show, and you're unhappy because it's too fast. If you're unhappy, maybe we should figure out what tempo you want this to be perceived by people.
Sure.
And then it became a thing. Well, let's use a click on some songs because we don't want it to sound like that, or it's got delays or whatever the heck.
Totally.
And then there are shows where, every song is on a click because that's how it's working, or because of the production,
Yeah.
which is now
Oh,
really,
that's
really big tours. You don't have a
Key.
choice.
Absolutely. Well, my friends in Rammstein.
Yeah, the bigger the
everything
production,
is-
you're on a click all night, period.
everything's triggered. The
Unless-
pyro to
yeah,
the
yeah.
video to everything got to be
Yeah.
on that thing. You know, it's like
I know.
which is
Unless you have, you carry people that can do that individually for
Yeah.
you, which is fine. However it works, but sometimes it's necessary
Yeah.
to do it only because you have to, because of the production and the show and whatever. It's nice to be able to.
yeah.
It's nice to have that, that option.
And people like younger guys out there, younger up and coming
Right.
drummers, you got to build your internal clock. You know, that's one thing a lot of people don't teach you when you're younger. It takes time to develop time. You know, a lot of people are like, they'll lose gigs because they don't have the ability to play to a click. And that's happened a lot. That's happened to a lot of buddies of mine in their 30s. And they're like, dude, I can't believe it. I blew it because the singer freaked out on me because I was rushing so bad on the click. And it takes, you got to build up. You know what I mean? You got to get that inside
I've
you.
done a lot of sessions where the purpose of me getting a phone call was we need, the drummer couldn't
Yeah.
play to the click.
Absolutely.
We need you to come in and do it. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay,
Yeah.
don't blame me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It is
Totally.
what it is. What are you thinking?
What are
You
you
don't want to
thinking?
do this. Look at us.
Be a cook.
Look at the bags
make
under our
Italian
eye.
food.
Look at the eye bag. You don't want to do this.
Go
but
to law school. No.
if somebody wants to, what I would say is your best friend would be a pencil, a couple of pencils, and a few pieces of paper, and just write down sort of a picture, or take notes on the environment you want to exist in. In other words, if let's say I want to be a studio drummer, well, why don't you write down what's in that studio? How does it work? Who's there? What do I need to do to prepare before I get in there? Or a live show, or I want to join a band, so you got to write down, well, what would that take? What would that mean? And I think at the crux of it all, the connection between you and where you want to go is always through somebody, and you're working with people. So it has to be a huge priority that you're addressing, well, who's in this group? What are they like? How do they work? How is the thing going to work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or what do I need to do I don't know any of these people, but who knows them?
Right.
And who do I know? Now that Ray might talk to me some more, maybe I can go through him and, get that bar mitzvah thing.
I got a ton of bar mitzvahs coming up.
I'll put the thingy on.
All right. Hey, all right.
I'm good.
Yeah. You can wear the pearl hat. It's fine.
Yeah,
People that are known online and known on like the YouTubes and the TikToks and Instagrams, all that. That's awesome. But get in the garage with musicians. If you want, I pledge to myself, I want to be a lifer. I want to do this till the day I die. If I'm in a bar mitzvah, if I'm in a stadium, if I'm in a famous band, if I'm not no famous band, I'm going to play till the day I die, flat out. That's a big oath to pledge to yourself. Well, with that, you got to build the vocabulary in your head. You better know a bunch of different styles. You better be able to get along with people. You know what I'm saying? People. It doesn't matter if you can play your ass off. If you get on a tour bus and you're a dick, guess what? You're going home.
And you're sleeping that far from somebody
Yes.
for a long time.
Your
so-
hygiene, little thing. There's
yeah.
so much etiquette and stuff that goes into you might be great you might play 30-second notes at 240 on a metronome. Very proud of you. That doesn't mean anything for getting a gig. If you want to get a gig, there's so many factors that go into that. So if you're just starting out, get in a garage and suck. Play to your favorite art, something that inspires you, makes you go, yes, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Keep playing it over and over again. Get blisters, get calluses, study proper technique so you're not in pain later on. But building your vocabulary mentally, but all that stuff about showing up on time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stop this whole rock star crap. I know a lot of drummers get a gig, some big known gig, and a year later they get something happens, they're out of the gig, but they still have this attitude ego thing. Well, stop it. Yeah, ego attitude, get rid of it all right now. It's because you never know.
No.
Stay humble as you possibly can because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. No one does. So it's like
That's right.
that whole thing of like being on time, wanting to be around people want to be around you, all that, Don't get me started, Mike. I'll go, bro.
It's okay. Keep going. I had my first job washing dishes. My Uncle Albie hired me, and first day he said, Michael, just want to tell you one thing, that 1 o'clock means 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's what it means. 1 o'clock doesn't mean 10 past 1. It means 1. So fast forward like 503 years to when a nephew was going to supposed to come to a place I was living in Boston to tutor me on Pro Tools when I first got it. And this is the same side of the family, like the whole bit, but this is like second cousin, actually. This is what it was. So anyway, he shows up, and he's like late as can be. And so I'm thinking of my Uncle Albie, and I knew that he knows who it is, and I said, I'll wait. So he comes in, and we start, and I said, Mark, I said, do you do that like iCal thing, you know? Or do you keep a physical calendar and you write stuff? And he said, well, sometimes. I said, do me a favor and look at today's date and see if it says BS and be late at 1 o'clock, because you were here at 1:45. You can't do that. I said, if you're going to make a career, you can't forget. I said, and I told him the story of Uncle Albie and the whole bit, but he's been on time ever since.
It's true. I mean, that whole like fashionably late stuff.
Yeah,
stop
no.
it. Just stop it, everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I don't know.
Not good. 1 o'clock means 1 o'clock.
That's right. That's the moral of the whole story. Don't be a dick, and 1 o'clock means 1 o'clock. Bam.
Perfect. There it is. Cut.
And cut.